Hey, so the next part of my journey or my story or my infertility journey, whatever you want to call it, is going to be about basically all about my surgery that I had to have. There is quite a lot to talk about, so I will be splitting this video into two parts. So yeah, I guess this right here is part one. So from what I mentioned in my last video, I was booked in for my surgery. I knew what I was having. It's a laparoscopy, which is keyhole surgery, which is just a few incisions in the abdomen. They don't, open you up. They just kind of put instruments inside with a camera and do it that way, rather than having a big scar, you've got a couple little ones. So that's what I knew I was having, and that's what I did have. Now, leading up to the surgery, I was really quite anxious and scared, and I really, honestly, I didn't know what to expect. I'd never been put to sleep before. I'd been to hospital, but I'd never had surgery. I mean, the worst thing I've had is probably like a blood test or IV, or even the hysterosalpingogram from last time. If you've watched my previous videos, you'll know what that means. That was probably the worst thing, but again, that's not even surgery. So I'd never had surgery before. I was really quite scared, and I thought, okay, let me prep. So what we did is we went out and we got loads of shopping, like food shopping, only because I'm the cook. I'm quite a good cook, and unfortunately my fiance, I mean, he's okay, but I'm fussy. So it was just easier to just get easy food and prep it before I went in for surgery, so that post-op, Yas didn't have to do much, so he could, give me all his attention, and I was obviously unable to do anything, so that was helpful. I also, because my surgery was booked for the 28th of November, I just thought, oh my God, I'm going to be in post-op and I'm not going to be able to put the Christmas tree up. Again, I don't trust Yas to do a very good job of making the house all Christmassy, so I did all of that very early. I did that all at the end of November. So I had my Christmas tree up, and all my lights and cute little what do you call those things with the ball and the snow? Snow globe. My snow globes were out. My trees with the lights on, and it was just all so Christmassy. I had my candles from when I went to New York, so I had like my like Christmas smelling candles from Bath and Body Works. So I was honestly in my element, and it was so great. I had Christmas music on, I was doing the tree, and I was just taking my mind off having surgery. And of course, now this did help post-op, because I was feeling really, I was having to just stay on the sofa all day. I mean, I was meant to be in bed, but I don't have a TV in here. This is just solely for sleeping, so I don't have a TV or anything in here. It's just the bed, our bedside tables, and the wardrobes. So I wasn't going to stay in here for, I don't know, 2 weeks or however long it took me to recover. And then when it came to the day, so I woke up really, really early. I think I had to be there for 7. I think, something like that. So I had to be there really, really early, and I was feeling really sick and nauseous and really, really anxious. Like maybe a couple of days leading up to it, I was starting to get really anxious, like really struggling, heart racing and stuff whenever I thought about it. Whereas on the day, it was quite bad. I think I was quite shaky, and knowing that Yas wasn't able to stay in the waiting room with me while I waited for surgery was a horrible feeling, because I knew that I was going to have to deal with it all by myself. So I was really quite worried and scared that morning. Got into hospital. They tell you to bring like a dressing gown and slippers, and They tell you to bring, for post-op, something that doesn't have a waistband, because obviously your surgery is on your abdomen, so if you've got a waistband it's going to be quite painful. So you know, you've got your whole bag and stuff, and then you get there, they give you a clipboard and they tell you, you know, fill out these things before they do it. You go in and speak to people, they, you know, test you and they do your blood pressure and things like that, make sure that you're okay to have the surgery. And then you just kind of wait. Oh, they give you your gown. That's why you've got to bring slippers, because you can't wear your shoes and stuff. But they give you your gown and then you just kind of sit there waiting for it, and then they call you. Just thinking about it scares me, because I was terrified at this point. They call you into the room and you're like, oh, this is it. And they're like, right, can you get on the bed, you know, lay down, get comfortable. And I'm thinking, God, I'm shaking. I'm like, I think at this point I'm crying, and they're going, oh no, don't cry, like it's not bad, don't worry, like you'll be fine. And I just remember laying there crying, saying I'm really scared. And they were like, right, we're just gonna, because I had my IV, and they were like, right, we're just gonna give you something to relax you a little bit. And it didn't even occur to me what they were doing. I was just so scared and panicked that they just kind of right there and then they said, right, we're just going to give you something that's going to relax you a little bit. And that's all I remember. I woke up and I was like, whoa, what happened? So yeah, it must have completely knocked me out. I woke up, I was feeling on top of the on top of the world. I remember when I first woke up, I remember thinking, whoa, I feel so good. I just remember honestly feeling great, and I remember just saying, this is great. Like, I just remember saying it out loud. I just couldn't keep my thoughts in my head. I had to say them out loud. I was on such high, like crazy painkillers, or I don't know what they give you, or I don't know why I was like that. But I was loving life, and I was like, whoa, I feel so good. And I just kept saying it out loud. And then the nurse came over and she was like, oh, like, you're awake? And I was like, yeah. And I was just telling her how good I felt, because I was basically high. And then she was like, how's your pain? And as soon as I thought about it, I was like, oh yeah. I was like, yeah, I do have some pain. She's like, do you want some painkillers? And I was like, yeah, please. And I think she gave me like another dose of, I'll be honest, she told me what it was, but I can't remember. I was just out of it when I got out of surgery. And then she gave me those painkillers, and suddenly, it was through an IV, so it's quick, the whole world was spinning. And I don't do well with spinning. I don't drink alcohol because I don't like the feeling of going to bed and the world spinning. That's why I stopped drinking. I just couldn't do it. And obviously because we're trying, but it honestly, it would wake me up and I'd feel sick and then I'd get into a panic attack. So that's why I stopped drinking. So that feeling was not a good one for me. And I just remember the room spinning, and I'm thinking, oh God. And then they wheeled me down into the ward, like where you recover. And because it's not overnight, you recover and then someone comes to pick you up and then you go home. Sorry, they took me to the ward, and I just remember having a massive panic attack. And it was really, really horrible. I was like shaking and crying, and I was so confused. The room was spinning. I couldn't do anything without feeling like I was going like this. Yeah, the panic set in, and I was really, really scared. Yas wasn't here yet because I'd only just got out. It was just all new to me, and I was very confused and very scared. And the nurse came over, and she really kind of helped to relax me, and she was kind of just holding my hand, and I think she was like stroking my hair, like saying, don't worry, it's going to be fine. I'm like laying there really scared, and she was honestly brilliant. We'll get onto that a bit more, but she was great, basically. And then panic attack over. I mean, the world was still spinning and my heart was still racing, but the attack, like the real panic, was kind of like it dissolved, which is really good. And then I just spent most of the time kind of just waiting for Yas to come. And I mean, he got there and we were just talking, and I think I was still a little bit out of it, but it was fading away, and then the pain started to come, and I was just kind of like, it was very, very like all over the place for me. I'd never done anything like that before. So he was just chilling with me, and then my fertility doctor came over, and she basically just told me what had happened in the, what's it called? She told me what had happened in the surgery, what they found and what they did. So what they found, they did find endometriosis. Now that is when I got diagnosed. So what's it called? The appointment before this, they told me, she told me, right, she suspects it because of certain symptoms and the way that things were working out for me. She was like, I suspect that you've got endometriosis, but you can only be certain if you have it if you've had the surgery. That's the only way to diagnose it properly. So you can suspect things from like symptoms, and you know, if you're a doctor and you kind of know what's going on, but in order to actually diagnose it, you have to have the surgery, which is what I had, and they found it, and they say it wasn't like really, really bad, but they did see it there. And then they told me what they did, and what they did was ovarian drilling, and they did the endometriosis removal, but I'm going to talk about that in part 2. I'll talk about the drilling first. So the drilling is basically where the ovaries are surgically treated with some sort of laser or like heat source. You can tell I'm not a doctor. Some sort of heat source, and it basically destroys the parts of the ovaries that are producing the male hormone, which obviously stops you from ovulating, which stops you from getting pregnant. So that part was destroyed. That's what they did to me. Now people, just a fact, I wrote a fact down here to tell you guys because I never have facts. Around half of women who go through with ovarian drilling end up getting pregnant within 1 year. So that's very hopeful. I have until November. No, I'm joking. But yeah, that's a statistic apparently. I saw it on the internet. So that makes me quite hopeful. So yeah, that's what they did in regards to the PCOS. I'm not going to go into the endometriosis just yet because that's going to be in part 2. But what I will say is that they won't let you out of that hospital after the surgery until you've gone for a wee. I don't know the science behind it, but they would not let me leave, and I was there for hours because my body would not wee. I could not wee to save my life. I had running water, I drank loads, I was like watching videos of water and waterfalls, and do you know what, I don't even remember what I was doing to try and induce urinating, but it just wasn't happening, and I was getting really frustrated because all I wanted to do was go home and chill, and my nurse was just like, come on, you can do this, and she said, if you need any help, I have a trick. So next time you go in there, because it was getting quite late and I could see that everyone was just like, oh, go home already. And so bear in mind, they said not to bring anything with a waistband. I bought a onesie, but I didn't bring, because they give you like paper knickers, because they've had to put like a catheter and stuff in while you're in surgery. So I didn't bring any knickers because they said, you know, they give you paper knickers. And then they tell you not to wear like a bra or anything with like underwire that's gonna like hurt you. So I just didn't bring a bra. I'll be honest, I've never had surgery. I didn't think about it. So I'm standing there in my my Minnie Mouse onesie, like this really big fluffy thing. And obviously when you go to the toilet in a onesie, you're basically naked, especially if you're not wearing a bra, and you know, you have to pull everything from the waist down, you have to pull down to use the toilet. So I was so desperate that I just said to her, I need your help. And she came into the toilet and I'm basically just sitting there naked. And I don't know what was going through her head when she walked in. I was just sitting on the toilet naked. But Yas was laughing at me because he was like, I was like, all dignity goes out the window when all you want to do is go home. It's like, you will do anything just to go home. But she didn't act like it was like weird, or she didn't say, oh, put some clothes on or anything like that. She just kind of let it be. And then she came with a jug of warm water, which I didn't know was a thing, by the way. If you're ever having any problems urinating, here's a trick. She basically got a jug of warm water and poured it down my back, and it was like magic. Straight away I just started weeing and then I was able to go home. Sorry, I didn't tell you this, but when I was feeling like overly nauseous, I was saying to her that when I get nauseous I panic, because I have a weird thing about being sick. I really don't like the sensation and it makes me panic. It's like a fear. I think I might have a phobia of being sick, and it puts me in a panic if I ever get sick, hence why I don't like getting drunk, because usually when you get drunk you get sick. So I was feeling really, really sick, and she gave me some chewing gum. Now that sounds like nothing, but for a nurse to care so much about your well-being and how you're feeling after surgery, honestly, was like really nice. She gave me chewing gum and it stopped me from feeling sick. You know, she helped me through my anxiety attacks. She poured a jug of warm water down my butt to help me pee so that I could go home. She honestly was the best person that I could have dealt with. Someone like me who is new to surgery and things like that. She was the best person that I could have had, and I am so thankful that I had her to help me through it. And at that point I got to go home. Before you leave, they basically tell you, here's how you deal with your stitches and stuff like that, or your incisions. I don't know what they're called. Are they stitches? I don't know. But they tell you like how to clean them, when to change your dressings. They give you the dressings and stuff. The pain was kicking in. They sent me home, I think, with some cocodamol. I don't remember, but they sent me home with strong painkillers, which was good. And so that's when I got to go home. I was struggling to walk, but I managed to get in the car, and from then I was just happy to be home. But I'm going to leave this here because I'm going to talk about post-op, and I'm going to talk about the removal and endometriosis in my next video. So yeah, keep a lookout for that, because that will be part 2 of this video. If you have any questions on part 1, then please comment and let me know. And also, if you like this video, then like this video. And if you want to keep seeing more of my infertility story, then please do subscribe.